Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we can continue on buttoning up the rest of this engine bay and hopefully, fingers crossed, get a first start in this episode. Stay tuned. Pretty damn close to getting a first start up. Just a lot of little things. Like we've got to do a line here, we've got to do a line there, we've got to fix the dump pipe. So we've got to get the dump pipe out. To get the dump pipe out, most likely we have to take that pipe off there. So just a lot of little fiddly bits, but we're pretty close. So I've ordered a 3-inch V-band to go at the bottom of the dump of this straight piece, which is pretty long. That will enable me to put it in through this way and then connect it from the bottom as well. Be able to do the wastegates and everything down there and then put the dump in and connect it. See if I can loosen off the cartridge, the rear housing, and rotate it to where I need it to be. Okay, so these bolts weren't tight. They weren't loose, but they weren't tight, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's rotated now. So vertically the oil's going in and we can get the coolant going pretty much straight down. But then we've got this boy out the back, coolant, and that goes around to this guy. Alright, so that water line is, well, the coolant line is cut to length. Everything's rotated properly, so I'm happy with that. Now it's time to take it off. GT35 now comes off. We'll get that exhaust off. We'll make that fuel line. We'll do some wiring. So I've got to go into the Haltech again and change it, because I've put it down as a narrow band. I'll change it to a wide band. It's going to be running off the AEM, the analog input that'll go to it, which is this white wire that I just stuck through, still on the spool, so I can just pull it through to where I need to. It's pretty much just on the other side of the firewall anyway, all the wiring for the AEM. Definitely want to clean up this, maybe pull it through a little bit more once the turbo's up and everything. Maybe I can get the connector onto the other side of the firewall. Maybe not. Not too sure just yet. Also, what are your thoughts on wideband sensor placement? I've got the AEM gauge for the air fuel, which is in the center console, the little cubby bit that I've made. I've got the Haltech coming in 2 to 3 weeks, most likely 3 to 4 weeks. Should I put that in the rear O2 sensor position? Will that be okay? Let me know. Because I know, like, when you go dyno tune and stuff, so they put their O2 sensor in the actual tailpipe, don't they? Anywho, let's get the GT35 off, get the exhaust off, and figure out how to get this wastegate on from up here. I think I need another set of hands. That's what I need. So guys, I managed to get the dump pipe down there without getting this up pipe off, which is brilliant. But obviously, once the wastegate's there, that won't happen. Let's try to get this wastegate on. Alright guys, we have the wastegate on, our pipe is on, turbo's on, but most likely not in the correct location. Can't really get that until I get the exhaust back on. So I won't be making, that should be alright. It looks like it's in the same position as before. I need to make this line for the coolant. I've already got the coolant line for up here done. Just need to put that oil feed fitting on. Alright guys, so I've made this fuel line that took me ages. So now the fuel system is all sealed, so it can be pressurized. Up to wiring in the wideband to the Heltec, and I just looked at the AEM wiring, and the output, the 5-volt output, is actually a white wire, so that turned out well. So we'll head in, we'll connect that white wire to the AEM gauge, and, connect it down to here. Then I'll go into the software and assign it to the wideband. Alright guys, so that is now connected, so we're going to jump into the software and assign that one. What I actually like about this setup is that I can actually get everything still, whereas the other one I did was nice and tight. I couldn't get to anything. Alright guys, I'm back. So I'm going to cut the dump pipe now. So let's go get the big saw and cut about 10mm from the base of where it starts to go straight. So looking at just about there, and we'll figure out the difference in the V-band, and when the V-band comes in, we'll chop that little bit extra off the base so everything still lines up. Alright guys, that is cut. Just need to clean up the edges and the inside there, and that's all we're going to use for our first startup. It's going to be loud. Alright guys, so I've cleaned up the other end and the dump is back on, so we can move on to the cooling system. A whole bunch of hose clamps so we can finish off the cooling system. Alright guys, so before I start buttoning everything up, I'm going to actually take the GT35 off once again so we can rotate the compressor housing on the TD05. Just need to get the pliers down there so I can get the clip off and rotate it up a little bit, because we need to be able to get a little vacuum nipple onto that bit there and a few lines in the way. So we'll come back, we'll have that on. This will be rotated up a little bit, but it shouldn't get in the way of the intake for the GT35. So I might be able to just move this up to the side. We do have the drain still on there. Should be able to work with that. Alright, so it's now rotated. Comes up a bit. We're going to have obviously a 90 coming off that, going through here. We'll have the old intake here. Pretty much a straight up and down shot for the coolant line, which I need to make. So I will put the hose clamps on this one, and there and there. We also have the vacuum line, boost line to that. So we'll definitely be cleaning up all this stuff later on. Gonna get the throttle cable on still. Alright guys, so I'm just making my water line between the two turbos. Pretty short. A little bit of a cutie, isn't it? So it should... it's got me. This in. Slides on. Just tighten that up. I slipped on that one. That's okay. Little one. I have got a smaller one for the fuel line. About 10mm. That was pretty hard to do. Yeah, we'll do that up. Put it on in between the turbos. There we have it. Nice AN line. There's our AN drain. The water system is done except for here, and obviously the radiator. So fuel system is all enclosed. We now have a boost reference for the fuel pressure regulator. So we need to get these three on the front here. It's a power steering, alternator and AC. Then we can get the radiator in. Well, there's always something, isn't there guys? So re-tap this one so I can mount the power steering. Oh, wow, I can't remember the last time that the engine looked like this. It's coming along. Tonight, it's getting late. it's about 10 to 11. I do want to see, or want to pressurize the fuel system, so see if there's any leaks at all. So everything on the front here is done. So I'm going to put the radiator back in now. Gonna plug the fans in. Alright guys, just about to put the power steering back on. Got the O-ring on there, and then I bolted it down and it came out because, as you can see, it's not flat. Alright guys, I think I'm pretty much done what I want to do tonight. Yeah, I'm just going to prime the fuel system. So we'll head up the back, put the fuel pump on, and just prime it. See what pressure we get to, and if it holds, awesome. And we can adjust the base pressure, because obviously there's no vacuum or boost going through it yet. The pump is now connected to the battery, so all we need to do is put the master switch on and put the ignition on, and we should get a prime. Yeah, I'll put you guys obviously here. I'll prime it, come out and see if there's any leaks. The main thing I want to look at are the ones that go from the AN to the hard lines. I want to see how they go. Right, so no prime. Maybe I haven't set it up. I'm not quite sure how to get the fuel pump just to prime. It's not happening at the moment. So what I'm going to do is just to jump it from the battery. Just hold it on for a few seconds, put it some pressure, and hopefully we have no leaks. Well guys, I've got a nice fuel leak there on, what's that, number 3. It's absolutely soaked my wiring, because that was obviously down there. Thanks for watching guys. I'm actually going to wrap this episode up here. We did get quite a bit done. Unfortunately, we do have a fuel leak from the rails, and it's actually both sides. So we've got to get that fixed. I'll be fixing that tomorrow. So on Monday's episode, hopefully we have a fuel system that's all good to go. We'll get some coolant in there, and fingers crossed, we get a first start. So if you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll catch you next episode. Bye.